Hello and welcome everyone to the Q&A session for our upcoming video course, Beyond Your Energy Body, the 7-week journey to open to the 4 dynamic aspects of your sacred anatomy. I'm Ann Patricio, and I am thrilled to be here with you to host this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll be exploring the teachings of Desda Zuckerman and address questions about her upcoming 7-week course, Beyond Your Energy Body, which begins Wednesday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. Now, I'll explain how you can participate in this course even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I'd like to introduce our guest. Desda Zuckerman has made a life study of the subtle energies surrounding all living things. For the last 30 years, she has quietly taught classes and trained practitioners, led healing sessions with thousands of clients. Desda is the author of Your Sacred Anatomy, an owner's guide to the human energy structure. A dynamic healer, speaker, and teacher, she's passionate about bringing her message of grounded transformation and one-body consciousness to the world. At last, she's revealed these sacred anatomy teachings to her wider audience here at the Shift Network, and I am so grateful that she has and that she's here with me tonight and with all of us. Now, in just a few moments, we're going to open to your questions for Desda. But first, I'd like to welcome Desda, who will begin our call by leading us in an opening practice. Welcome, Desda. Nice to have you here.
Hi. Hi, everybody. And thank you, Anne, for such a lovely introduction. I so appreciate it. So we're going to gather ourselves together, and we're reaching out into this wide universe on a day that's had a lot of very interesting things happen. So I think we could all use a little bit of centering about now. Let's take a nice deep breath together. And releasing, allowing yourself to come into your body fully. Wiggle your toes, feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle your body in your chair. Shake out your hands. Open your eyes. Breathing deep. Place your hands on your heart. I am present. I am awake. I am aware. I am ready. Okay, let's get started.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll be spending the rest of our time together exploring your questions for Desda as we prepare for her upcoming video course, Beyond Your Energy Body, which begins Wednesday, October 3rd. If you want to check out the website and learn more about her 7-week course and find the link to register, please visit beyondyourenergybody.com. I'll say that URL again, beyondyourenergybody.com. You'll see a full description and an option to register there. Now let's get started. So if you have a question for Desda, just type it into the chat and I'll be happy to read it. So while you're putting your questions in, I'm going to start with this question sent into our webcast from Pierre. He asks, can all of us learn to see or sense the energy body? Thank you.
Oh, Pierre, I love your question. That's wonderful. We can learn to feel it. In fact, you already do feel it. You know how you have those moments of, ugh, that thing slimed me. That conversation was awful. Or my heart aches. Or something like, that person has great energy. Where do you think you're feeling that? You're feeling it in your subtle anatomy. And your subtle anatomy is translating it to your bio layer, your physicality, and helping you understand that you're in a wider world. So yeah, we already feel and sense so much. Learning to see takes a little longer because we're used to seeing a specific way, a more limited way. So there are techniques that you can practice, and one of them is just letting your eyes lose focus and allowing just the possibility as you close your eyes that maybe there's more than you think there is, and then opening your eyes to a soft focus, kind of slightly out of focus look, and try concentrating or looking at your hand, just looking at your hand with a soft focus. And you'll slowly start to see a little bit of light around your fingertips, a little bit of shining light. And you may even see a little light inside of the palm of your hand. So that's a good way to begin training yourself. It takes a while for people who don't have the visual acuity yet to learn, but eventually you can learn to see more and more. And stick with me, you'll learn faster.
Thanks for that practical exercise, Desda. That was wonderful. So here's a question from Kat. Please discuss how our guides interact with the sacred anatomy. Are they part of it or separate and outside of it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a fascinating thing because it's a kind of I think somewhat of a misconception to think that our guides and guardians are outside of us, that they are in fact separate from us and coming from some other place. Because no, in fact, they're within you. And the truth is, they're part of you. So your guides, your guardians, are your highest wisdom opened up into a different palette. You know, we're born with guardians, and we have a certain number that work with us through many, many, many lifetimes, guardians. But guides are specifically related to different periods of our life. Like, for example, you might have one guide during gestation when you're a fetus. And then you might have another guide for birth, and another guide for infancy, another guide for early childhood, another guide for teen years, and so on. So we have many different guides that work through, and they're kind of like our caretakers in a way, in that they're the part of us that knows how to care for this egoic structure. The human energy structure is ancient, so it's maybe 100,000 years old, maybe 1,000,000 years old. People are different ages, but it's old. And the guides and guardians come and go as needed. Guardians are consistent, and guides fluctuate throughout a lifetime. But the same guides and the same guardians will have been with you for many, many lifetimes. And they don't do anybody else. They're not busy doing Joe over here. They're yours, and they're with you, and they're in you. And they reside actually in the spiritual layer, and there's a special strata dedicated to that frequency. And you know, they're light energies, so it's not like they're people with living rooms, cats and hats. They're different than that. They have a different level of existence and frequency, and they live within us. Okay, how's that?
Fascinating. I love to know they're not multitasking with someone else.
Yeah, can you imagine? You know, you're in crisis. Wait a minute, I'm busy.
I'm booked. All right. Here's one from Sue. Sue asks, what are the differences between the energy body you are describing and the pain body defined by Eckhart Tolle in his book, The New Earth?
Thank you, Sue, for this interesting question. I hate to say this, but I'm not a big believer in the pain body. Sorry, Eckhart. I love Eckhart Tolle. I love his writing, but I'm not a big believer in the pain body because the sacred anatomy is not devoted to pain. Pain is really more of an event that occurs in the physicality, in this body, this material reality, and we experience pain at all different levels. We experience emotional, psychological, spiritual, and physical pain. And that is pretty much dedicated to the egoic construct that is residing in the physicality. So a pain body might exist in the electromagnetic field, right around the physical body, or right in the physical body. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big follower of that idea, not because I want to disparage anyone's teachings, because may he be successful and live long. But the truth is, my experience has been that elevating pain to that kind of status gives it more import than it deserves or needs to have. And releasing pain is more about accepting it and living with it in a loving way. The more present we are with pain, the less painful it is.
Thank you so much. This is from Michelle. Hi, Desda. I've been seeing energy around me since I was 4 and could sometimes feel I had something larger going on around me. For the last 20 years, since learning some basic Kabbalah, I have been able to sometimes see part of my auric field. What you see looks amazing, and I link strongly to bright colors. However, I have suffered considerable stress in my life, and since the age of 19, I'm now 45, I've felt a block in my system. I've learned holistic practices, including EFT, and still can't remove the problem completely. I want to shake it out of my system, but it's very deep-rooted. I'd like to understand what has happened to me and how I can get rid of this issue.
Well, it could be any number of things that have happened to you. Early childhood trauma can cause a stop or a block of energy, sight, or being available to spiritual dimensions. But my sense is it's a kind of physical thing with you. And really what we need to do, most of us, is to, you said the word shake out. And we really need to shake out the trauma. We need to shake it out. And I recommend people do this every day, that we shake it out. Just shake it out. And what you actually can do in doing that, shaking it out, is let go of the things that have been stopping you. And you know, a lot of the exercises I suggest people do are kind of silly, but that's because I don't really take myself too seriously. And because I think that work like this is meant to be light. It's meant to lighten us up. And so I think that for you, doing shaking, regular shaking, there's actually even a practice called trauma release exercises invented by a guy named David Berceli that I'd recommend. It's wonderful for releasing PTSD, and it's also wonderful for releasing emotional blocks. It's also possible that you may have a spiritual block that is putting you in a little bit of a stress and tension, so that you drive forward in your life, constantly seeking, and eventually learn what it is you need to know to reopen that early childhood site. So asking these questions is fantastic. And you're doing the exact right thing, Sue. You're looking in the exact right place. So stick with me. I think some of the things that I'm going to teach you in this 4 aspects class may really help with sight. In fact, the module about the bio layer, which is manifesting your ground of being, anchoring with the physical aspect, So it's a biolayer kind of manifest reality experience. And in that, we're going to do a lot of deep diving around releasing physical blocks. So we might very well support you to do that. But then again, so might some of the other modules. So I've really designed this as a romp through the beauty of the 4 aspects. And as you get in touch with the emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual aspects, you're going to have an experience of going deep into understanding how you manifest that divine frequency in your life and what it is that's stopping you. Is it an emotional block? It could be. Is it a psychological, a spiritual, or a physical block, as I suggested earlier? So I think this is definitely the right course for you, and I think it should be a lot of fun for you. Who knows what could happen? You'll have to let me know.
Thank you, Desda. This is from Evelyn. Hello, Desda. Thank you for inspiring introduction the other day. My question, due to muscle weakness, I cannot stand, walk, or sit. I go through life horizontally. Does this affect the core line and channel observer you showed in the intro? As I imagine the core coming in from above, but in my position, the observer line would be coming in from above instead of the side. Also, will I be able to do the sensing exercises if I can't move my hands and arms? Thank you.
Wow, I love that you're on the call, and I love that you're looking in this direction. This is so awesome. Thank you for sending that question. I love it. You know what? When you're laying down, your core is still going right through your biolayer. It's going right through you. So it moves. It's not static. It moves in relationship to your body. So if I get in a crouch position, my core changes. It moves in relationship to my crouch or sitting up straight or laying flat. So what you're calling the observer line is what I call the channel. And that is always coming in through the front of your body and going out the back. You have to realize that we're kind of suspended in space. And we're not related or relational really with the poles of the planet. Even though this is our home, this is our place, this is where we come from. But we're not really related to that. So we're moving in space. We can be in airplanes. We can go upside down. And our core is always coming in through the top of the head and going out through the coccyx, down through our knees, down through our ankles, even if you don't have ankles, even if you don't have legs. And absolutely, you can do these sensing exercises as a mental practice. I'll encourage people, of course, to use their hands. But if you can't use your hands, you can definitely use the vast landscape of your beautiful brain.
Great. Thank you so much for that. This one from Sally, and she says, would love to hear more about the energy points of the meridians and how they fit into this energy system approach.
Wow. Hi, Sally. All right. So the energy points of the meridians. So we have in the subtle anatomy 2 kinds of meridians. We have what are called a core meridian and then another one called the cognitive meridian. So the core meridians come off of the spine. The sacred anatomy core, which runs all the way through us, could be considered a subtle energy spine. And it has 3 octaves. So an upper octave above the head, and then the middle octave, which is the body, the physical body, and then below the physical body, starting at the coccyx and down, that's the lower octave. So the meridians that are the core meridians have specific locations that they come out of the core and move through the spine, the physical spine, and actually move out through the structure and then continue all the way out into the universal. So they extend past the edge of the human energy structure. And these are meridians that network chiropractors adjust, for example. And there's a number of them. And then there's the cognitive meridians that come from the cognitive point of transmutation and enter into the head brain and down into the bio layer. So the point of transmutation is a strata in the cognitive layer, which is out past the mental layer. And it's probably 6 to 8 feet out from most people, maybe even some people a little more, maybe 10 feet. It's out there. And the point of transmutation is the furthest out. And it has a sort of a quality of being like the Garden of Eden. You can plant anything in it. Everything will grow, from weeds to tall oak trees. So everything will grow, and that includes concepts, beliefs, ideas, and attitudes that are developed from input from other people like your parents, your teachers, your siblings, and they imprint things like, oh, you're a little stinky pot, or dummy. Hey, dummy. Those kinds of things kind of go right in to this Garden of Eden and start growing a little dummy plant. And then the dummy plant sends down the cognitive meridian into the head brain and anchors into the bio layer. And the bio layer says, I guess I'm a dummy. So this is why it's so critically important to speak positively to children. And in fact, everybody deserves kind words.
Thank you.
There's a lot, there's more to be said, because there's a whole way that the acupuncture meridians line up. But I think it's better to use this time for more questions. Just FYI, there's more to be said. And you can look in my book, Your Sacred Anatomy, and see a little bit more about that.
Great. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Desda. We'll go over to this question. Hi, Desda. You are amazing. In a nutshell, I have been on an incredible journey, learning all about energy, healing, and all aspects of what our sacred anatomy can offer. Along this journey, ironically, it has come to our attention that our 10-year-old daughter can actually see energy. And through the insight of mediums, it has been suggested that she is also psychic and a healer. My question is, what do I do with this information, as there are very few people that would understand or even believe it?
Well, that's just wonderful. And there are more and more of these special children being born right now. In fact, there's a whole lot of them. So don't worry too much about people believing, because it's enough that you do. And it's enough that you affirm what she's seeing. Keep her talking about it. Keep her discussing it. Ask her what she thinks it is. Ask her if she sees anything in color. Ask her what colors. Ask her what the colors mean to her. And engage with her about this. Don't worry so much about what the medium said. Mediums say a lot of stuff. And it's better for a really healthy child rearing to stick to positive reinforcement, love, good nutrition, lots of water and exercise, and encouraging her to have friends that meet her at her level. There'll be other children around her that will be drawn to her that are also sensitive. And she will find her way. You don't have to worry about her. She's going to be just fine.
Great. This question is, can you explain how your work transforms trauma?
Ooh, I love that question. Yeah, well, it kind of transmutes it. You see, I've developed a healing modality called core individuation, and I've trained lots of practitioners. You can see them on my website, yoursacredanatomy.com. Anyway, transformation is our birthright. We are already transforming all the time. In every moment of every day, we're experiencing change and shift. In fact, years and years ago, a word came to me in meditation, which is where I got a lot of my thoughts and ideas, is in the quiet. And this word is extragenesis. And what it means is before or above the beginning. So before or above the beginning it's like before you take that in-breath, the inspiration of the breath. And then you're inspiring and then expiring. So it's a wonderful thing to think that maybe in the course of life, trauma has the potential to change and shift because it's always there, and the state of change, the state of shift is always ready to open to you. So taking a deep breath and allowing just the possibility that maybe change can occur, shift can happen, and sitting firmly and comfortably in your body, you're absolutely dialed in for the transformational moment. Supporting it by clearings, alignments, and procedures, which is what I train my practitioners to do, allows you to have first a clean structure, which is basically housekeeping, and then an aligned structure, which is basically like energetic body work, and then dealing with procedures or pathologies that are basically trauma and injury, disease, and distress that can be addressed in the subtle anatomy and released. So how my work actually deals with it is by locating the exact spot in the sacred anatomy where there is trauma, and then sitting with it in a particular way. Now, sometimes we're more aggressive, we do things, we bring in energies, we really attack the situation. And other times, really what we do is just allow the possibility of release. In any situation, we're going to be looking for the potential of that person's soul to actually grab the lesson that the trauma taught them, state it, understand it, really grok it, get it, and then allow themselves to let go. So in my work, releasing trauma can happen a lot faster because it's not really about psychological processing. Nothing wrong with psychological processing. Many people who've had difficult childhood experiences or things like sexual trauma, they need to psychologically process. They need to tell their story. They need to talk about it. But once you've done that for 10 years, you don't really need to keep doing it because it re-traumatizes you. I mean, many of you probably have had that experience of telling the story yet again, and oh my God, I'm feeling all activated. And that's because your emotions are always in the first present tense, right there. Now it's always happening and it's always really current. So releasing trauma like this is a refreshing, breath of air in a dark and stuffy room where we've been locked in a kind of battle with early psychological and childhood trauma. So I would just simply say it's possible to let go quickly and easily when you're ready to do it. If you're not ready and you need to tell your story yet again, you need to honor that and do it. But if you come to a core individuation practitioner of the sacred anatomy, you're going to see a faster shift. And we are really about shifting trauma in this class, because the 4 aspects of the authentic self are the original authors of your soul's purpose. So anything that's standing in the way of you and fulfilling that soul's purpose, that will be addressed in this class. And we're going to do different meditation every single week. And there'll be sensing practices every single week. And you will take home things to do in your own home that will help you continue the process of release. So I'm really excited about you joining me. I hope you do.
Thanks for that, Desda. So hello, everyone. If you joined us late, we're here with Desda Zuckerman, learning about her course, Beyond Your Energy Body, which begins Wednesday, October the 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. So please log on to beyondyourenergybody.com. I'll say that URL again, beyondyourenergybody.com, for all the details and to register. And we'll take your questions. Feel free to type them in and I'll read them out to Desda. We have one here, Desda. You say that our sacred anatomy extends 20 feet beyond the physical body. Does our sacred anatomy interact with other people's? How are we impacted positively or negatively by energy body of another?
That's a great question. It's always one of the first questions that people have because they're so logical. And, well, if it's this big 20-foot thing, it's got to be bumping into everybody. The fact of the matter is we're like Gumby. We morph and we make space for other people. We pull in, we expand, we extend. So when you're in a crowded room with a whole lot of people, if you're me, you look around and you see a lot of structures that used to be ovals, kind of shaped in interesting sort of amoeba-like shapes, connecting and touching other people, but not interfering with them. If the people in the room are conscious of their structures. If people are unconscious about their structures and there's a whole bunch of them in a room together, they're probably merging. And that's one of the things that I teach people not to do in a course that I developed called The Illuminated Body. And so there's all kinds of things we can learn to do with our subtle anatomy. And one of them is not pick up other people's stuff and to actually be a really healthy person in a group.
Great point. Thank you. This is from Louise. I have been fighting MS through Reiki and Qigong. People think I have no illness. I am very spiritual and went through many traumatic experiences. However, I'm a very strong individual and believe in an energy body approach. I also experienced an out-of-body event and had my aura repositioned in my body. Should I do more to clear my body for good?
Well, of course, I'm going to tell you, sure, keep going. Don't stop. You're on the right track. If you have the MS diagnosis and yet you're not manifesting it, I say thumbs up, lady. You're doing a great job. That's the thing. You know, energy medicine or the subtle anatomy approach is pretty magical. A lot of people have had a lot of problems and come through my office, and I've done at least 10,000 sessions, and I've seen miracles happen left and right because people are truly more than just a physical body. And in fact, when you treat the whole one body, all different aspects of it, all 7 systems, wow, you're going to have a really great result. So keep it up. Yeah. Keep going. You're on a roll.
Great. So this ties into Gina's question. Hi, Desda. Thank you for your passion. What are the 7 energy systems you mentioned?
Great. All right. So, number 1, the layers. So, some of you may know the layers as the bodies. I don't call them the bodies because we have one body and we have layers. So, we have 8 layers. And those 8 layers move concentrically out from the bio layer. There's the emotional layer, the primal layer, the mental layer, the cognitive layer, the spiritual layer, the etheric layer, and then the soul layer. So all these things I've written about in my book, Your Sacred Anatomy. I'll show it to you so you can see it. There it is, Your Sacred Anatomy. And it's, as you can see, a big book. It's kind of encyclopedic, but I talk a lot about each one of these systems. I devote a whole chapter to them because there's a ton to say. So there's the layers, then there's the template, which is like a subtle nervous system, and it has billions of strands that come out from the center, from a star point at the center, and go all the way out, sensing energy and information from the universal. And then there's the blended energy system. Now, the blended energy system consists of something that you might know, chakras. So we have 7 chakras that almost everybody knows about, probably everybody on this call knows about. But I work with 13 because as there are 7 on the body, there are 6 that are not on the physical body, that are above and below the physical body. So the chakra system is called the blended energy system because it works with the energies of the structure that blend to create a fuel. And it's sort of like a cardiovascular system, pumping the informative, fueling energy that we make in the soul layer. So there's cross-pollination from the layers to the blended energy system, from the template to the layers to the blended energy system. It all is working together as a very compatible whole. Then there's the bones of light. The bones of light are amazing. Now, the thing you need to know is that each one of these systems, like, for example, the template, which is the nervous system, it includes your physical nervous system as well. And then there's the bones of light, which includes your biolayer bones as well. So there's an energetic component in your physical body that relates to the subtle anatomy system that we're working with. So obviously the bones of light is a skeletal system that holds you up and open and able to function. Then there's the elimination system. The elimination system is made of 5 horizontal wheels that are stacked from the very top, way up, 20 feet above, and then 20 feet below. And those wheels spin to release energetic debris that builds up in the system. And of course, they collaborate with the entire structure. There are 4 vertical wheels that spin kind of like this, and they move through the horizontal wheels that are spinning like, they're actually spinning kind of like this, moving around, but also pumping at the same time. So it's a really complex system. It's one of the most interesting systems in the subtle anatomy. And then there's the electromagnetic field. Human electromagnetic field is a whole system unto itself. And that's the only system that dies when the physical body does, because when you don't have the brain and the heart and the cells firing, you don't have an electromagnetic field anymore. And that system dies. It's the one where there's probably been the most study done of the electromagnetic field because it's easier to measure. We can actually measure it and see it and sense it and work it. And, everybody understands that we get EKGs and EEGs, et cetera. And those use our own electromagnetic field. So one of the things that's interesting about the electromagnetic field is it actually has a really high function. And that is to bring the soul's purpose and the soul's information into the world. It brings it into the world. So I call it the bridging system. The next system I want to talk to you about is the Harmonizing Network. Now, the Harmonizing Network is extraordinary because it's not really based in the same kind of light energy as the others are. It's based in sound. So everything in the Harmonizing Network is sound frequency. And there are sacred frequencies, there's 9 of them, and these 9 sacred frequencies combine in every single system to make harmonizing energies that exist throughout the structure. But it is essentially the glue that holds us together, and it could be compared to kind of a chemical system. So there you go. Those are the systems. Thanks for the question. That was fun.
Thank you, Desda. So we have time for more questions, but before we take those, I want to give a few details about Beyond Your Energy Body. So as you can tell, it's going to be an enlightening 7 weeks with Desda, where you'll open to a powerful new understanding of your energy fields. The 7-week course takes place on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, starting October the 3rd. Now, if for any reason you're unable to join live, you won't miss the teachings. You'll receive audio and video replays, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage. Also, I'd like to remind you that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on our courses, giving a full 2 weeks until October 17th in this case, to make sure you absolutely love this course. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect to a private Facebook community group to stay connected with one another. Now, everyone who registers receives the Beyond Your Energy Body bonus collection, and that includes the following: Insights Insights Meditation Journal, a PDF teaching from Desda. Correct and Ethical Way to Benefit from Affirmations, a video teaching from Desda. Importance of a Spiritual Practice, video teaching from Desda. And when you register tonight, you'll receive this special additional bonus, Desda's Dozen. It's a PDF teaching where you'll be inspired and learn how to live a more hopeful life in the 12 steps outlined in this special bonus. So we're going to go over to a few more questions. And I have one from Trinity, which I think relates to what you were just speaking of. But she says, "Hi, Desda. How is the physical aspect of the 4 subtle energy realized? When one thinks physical, we always think matter, sensing, i.e. the ability to touch and see. But you're dealing with subtle energy here. Isn't it invisible for the most part?"
Depends. It's not invisible to me, but and to many other people, to be honest. I get emails all the time about people who say, "Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for talking about this. I see this too." So I'm not the only one. But when we talk about physical, so the physical aspect, it's a little different than physical manifest matter. When we think about matter, it's got a quality of denseness, solidity, hard. When we think about subtle matter, we don't really think about subtle matter, do we? I do. But what subtle matter is the density of light. So Paramahansa Yogananda said, matter is nothing more than congealed life. And what I'm saying is that subtle matter is nothing more than congealed subtle energy. So that's what we're dealing with the bones of light, for example. When we're working with the 4 aspects of the authentic self, we're working with a physical aspect that is fascinated with bringing into manifest reality your truth and your clarity and your soul's purpose in this dimension. But it has a quality of divine light. It's moving at an incredibly rapid speed. It doesn't really relate to solid. It relates to almost like watercolor as opposed to solid being like oil. So there's a quality of lucidity and looseness, a non-congealing quality. So it's interesting to think about the way that things come to physical manifest reality. We know that the thoughts of the mind influence what it is that we bring present. And the thoughts of other people's minds influence what comes about as a physical manifest reality. But do we ever think about our real spiritual connection to the manifestation of matter? You know, I've always enjoyed the idea that mater and matter are sort of the same word. And mater means mother in Latin. So there's a way that we touch the great mother when we touch the physical. And you and I do it all the time. Come find out how to direct your awareness through the four aspects. And you especially enjoy that third module, I think, about the physical aspect.
That's great. Thank you so much. Cindy is asking, is it normal to be so sleepy during Ascension?
That's a good one. Wow. Yeah. No, there's no normal when it comes to enlightenment. Everybody does it their own unique way. So some of us are going to sleep our way to the top. That was cute. Thank you. Okay.
A variety of questions. Okay, this is from Cheryl. Is my human electromagnetic system out of balance if I am unable to wear watches without overcharging the battery? Or is it due to all of the EMFs in our environment?
No, that's all about you, baby. You notice I don't wear any watches. The more chi that you've got, your electromagnetic field is holding that chi. And as you develop your own personal chi and you're able to really use it in your life to do good things, you will blow watches out. There was one time, I'll tell you a little story. One time I was getting ready to teach a class. I was out in Concord, Massachusetts, and I was going to teach this class. Boy, I was all excited. I was all pumped up. Oh, I just had to run off a few copies at the local Kinko's. So I ran into the local Kinko's. I proceeded to go through something like 40 machines in about 25 minutes. As I was coming up on the 40th machine, the guy behind the desk said, "Lady, can you just leave one for us?" So yeah, that's you. Give up the watch.
All right. Sue is asking, how do I access the unlimited money in my energy body? I know it's there, but it's blocked. I give to the point of depletion. I'm willing to receive.
I hate to break it to you, but there's no money in your energy body. Your physical body, your electromagnetic field, yeah, you got money-making potential there. But your subtle anatomy doesn't care about money. The currency of light, the currency of truth, the currency of wisdom, that's what the energy body is interested in, not particularly money. So if you want to make more money, get more sleep, drink more water, ground yourself, do a spiritual practice every single day, not dedicated to making money, but dedicated to grounding your energy and being present in your life. You'll make more money.
Great suggestions. Thank you so much. So I have one more for now. Let's see. Hi, Desda. I love your energy. I'd love some suggestions on moving stagnant energy from my throat. It's been an issue for me for over a year. It feels like a lump in my throat all the time. What do you recommend?
Well, the first thing I would say is do your due diligence, go to the doctor and let them look in your throat. You know, it's really important to know that there's energetic healing available, but there's also physical issues that appear and occur. So if you have a lump in your throat that you've never had the doctor look at, you need to do it, because this is a world where disease occurs and it could happen to you. So it's important for you to look at those things. Now, if you've done that and you're in the middle of looking at your stuckness in your throat, what you want to think about is, how truthful am I being in what I say and in what is said to me, and how do I receive it? Do I listen? Do I take it in? Because the throat is not just about you telling your truth, right? It's actually about you hearing it, you feeling it, you integrating it into your life. And the truth of the matter is, if you get your mojo working, you're going to be able to lose that blockage in your throat. You're going to be able to lose blockages everywhere. The last class of our instruction, the 7th week, is about how your relationship with your 4 aspects benefits your life. And I call it 4 aspects mojo. So the 4 aspects mojo may help you release those kinds of blockages in your structure.
Great, thank you. So Desda, I'd love to hear from you with this course coming up. What are you most looking forward to sharing with all that go this journey with you?
Wow. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is, first of all, just making a ton of new friends. I love that. I love having lots of new friends. And I love the process of learning. I love those questions. I adore the questions. And I love them coming at me. We've got the Facebook question and answer. We've got chat rooms. And I'm going to break up the class as we go with multiple spots for Q&A. So I'm not going to just do a big long thing at the end. There's going to be like a question part here and a question part there, so that people have an opportunity to really ask questions as they occur. And what it does is it stimulates my energy and gets the synergy going, so that we're creating something together. Because all of us together, and so amazing with the internet, because I can reach out and I can touch thousands of you at once. And so we have this synergy that's happening. And you know what we're doing when we're doing that? We're lifting the frequency of the entire human species. Just maybe if there's even just 300 or 400 of us, we're lifting the energy. And think of it if there are thousands. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, is the ability to really make a difference for our beautiful human race, who so deserve a break from, well, to put it bluntly, the crappy doodle.
You're great. Well, I'm going to ask a couple more questions, because we've have a lot of questions and you're just raring to go here. So Deborah is asking, I seem to have illness after illness. Am I prone to this in this life, and why? It pulls me back from doing one of my life purpose in this life. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard to be sick. I hate being sick. Most people hate it. And we have these frail containers that we're walking around in that have a tendency to pick up disease and disturbances, and that take things pretty deeply. And that's why I've made such a study of the subtle anatomy, because as I've studied it, I've learned that placing your awareness and your intention at the edge of your sacred anatomy gives you a leg up and can end those constant illnesses. You know, generally speaking, people who pick up illness after illness are people who are sort of habitual mergers with other people. If you go to a big box store and you just can't take the energy of all this the products and the people and the energy, the noise, and if it's too much for you, if you can't go to a stadium, if you can't stand to be in a conveyance like a bus or a train, if you really have difficulty flying and being in a small container with all these people around you, you're probably totally collapsed. Your energy body is probably not functioning the way it should. And what I mean by that is that your sacred anatomy is meant to be in relationship with your physical body. It's meant to have a friendship with your physical body. And the first call that I did with Stephen, I did a little practice, an initiation, sort of an invitation to the subtle anatomy to have a relationship with you. So I'm going to actually repeat that early on in our classes, because you kind of can't do that too much in our culture. We need to continue inviting the sacred to land in us. So one of the things you can do if you're constantly sick, first of all, is continue to do the good things that you do for yourself. Eat right, drink a lot of water, good water, pure water, clean water when you can get it, and always sleep. Remember that most people in our country, at least, are not sleeping enough. And we need more sleep than we think we do. 5 or 6 hours a night is not enough. Women usually need much more than that, 8 hours. Men need 9. So it's really important to sleep well. So sleep well, eat well, drink good water, and all of those things are so obvious, we think. But you stop and think about how many of those things you really are doing. You're probably not doing them all. And what I would say is that there's another thing that is as important as drinking good water, and that's having a spiritual practice. Spiritual practice will allow you to begin to establish the spaciousness that you need to then engage with your sacred anatomy and begin to have a relationship. Please come take this class with me, because I think that if you're sick a lot, learning how to communicate with your 4 aspects and how to have a relationship with them, where you can get guidance and where you can get real insight into why your life is unfolding the way it is going to really help you.
Well, Desda, this has been a wonderful hour. I want to thank all of our viewers who've been here and those that posted so many wonderful questions. So Beyond Your Energy Body starts Wednesday, October 3rd. And here comes the URL again, beyondyourenergybody.com. Please visit that to learn more, read about all the modules, and to register. So you've given so much, so many great pieces of advice and wisdom, including the sleep and the water one, which is so simple and yet a tough one to hit, right? But
it is.
I want to ask
more. Let me give you one more. Laugh every day. There you go.
That's a good one. And you're going to get a chance. I want to just say to you, is there anything else? Final words for our listeners. Here's your chance. Anything else that's on your heart that you want to share with our listeners tonight?
Open up your mind, body, heart, and spirit to the possibility that you are a divinely inspired being, that you actually have a gift to bring forth into the world that everybody needs. We need you. I need you. We need each other. Come on. Come join me. We're going to have a blast. I can guarantee that.
Yes, we are. Thank you again, Desda. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. And on behalf of all of us here at the Shift Network, I wish you well. And we look forward to having you on this course or on one in the future. Be well.